welcome to this next episode of Limitless, the podcast that makes the impossible possible. I'm Alex O'Neill, and today we're exploring something that is elusive, elastic, and something we never seem to have enough of, but is an essential element to creating a change in the world. Time. It's a bit of a weird thing when you think about it. We count it in seconds, minutes, hours, days, completely made-up concepts to help us study it and measure it, and in theory use it to our advantage. And yet, how many of us never have enough of it? There aren't enough hours in the day or days in the week to do everything we want. We see it stretch before us, perhaps seemingly unending, where all we can see is us floating forwards through time, not knowing where we're really going. Or perhaps future time feels excessively short, so we scurry around trying to make the most of every minute, filling every moment with productive work or activities until we flop down exhausted at the end of a day when we can't stay awake any longer. Time has a strange elasticity to it. Events from years past can seem like they happened just moments ago, and yet last weekend feels very far away. Week-long holidays go past in a flash, whilst a 2-hour work meeting can seem to go on forever. The way our brains understand and perceive time has nothing to do with the way we measure it in the outside world. At its core, the brain has no concept of time at all. In fact, the measurement of time can only happen in the logical part of our brain, which doesn't have a say in other bits which respond to external stimuli and processes emotion and feeling. The saying, everyone has 24 hours in a day, is obviously true. However, it's rare that we grasp the trueness of this concept and understand what it means or apply it to our lives. When you hear that phrase, your brain may pipe up with 1,000 excuses as to why you feel you have so much less time than others. Yes, well, not everyone has 2 kids that go to loads of after-school clubs and goes to work and looks after their elderly mother and can't afford a cleaner, and so on and so forth. Or perhaps it goes into comparison and degradation mode. How can I have the same amount of time in my day as Oprah Winfrey or another famous and successful person or Julie next door? They do so much with their days and I just can't. I must be useless. Or maybe your brain starts to formulate all the ways in which other people have things you can never have, which must make them have more time. More money, less sleep, a team of helpers, or perhaps a time-freezing machine. While the brain may try to create all of these reasons why we feel strapped for time in our lives, the truth still stands that everyone lives in the same frame of time and has 24 hours in a day. The key to having more time is simply to understand how you spend it. Imagine for a moment that you are given 10 blue gems and welcomed into a sweet and cake shop. The walls and counters are full with all of the sweets and cake you could ever want. Squidgy chocolate fudge cake, iced buns, yum-yums, fizzy tangy Haribo sweets, old-style bonbons, licorice all sorts, fudge. You look around in wonder at the colours and smells wafting towards you. The sweet shop owner tells you that everything in the shop costs 1 gem, and you have to spend all 10 of your gems before you leave. If you don't choose yourself what you spend them on, you'll just be handed some stuff on the way out. None of the sweets or cakes will go off when you leave, so you can save them forever, but you can't share them with anyone else. They must be for you. You look around and start selecting. Maybe some of the options are obvious. You love fudge, so you'll definitely have some of that. Perhaps you want to have lots of different options, so you spend your gems on 10 different things. Or maybe You just want lots of only 1 or 2 things that you love. Whatever you decide to spend your gems on, you come away with 10 delightful options of lovely things that you will enjoy for days or weeks to come. When you were spending your gems, did you decide to throw any of them away? Did you walk out of the shop with only 5 things and get handed some stuff on the way out that you didn't want? Did you wonder what your family or friends might think of your cake and sweet choices? Did you look around and see what other people were spending their gems on? Did you ask the sweet shop owner what they thought you should get? Did you select cakes and sweets based on how good they might be for you, even though it was completely imaginary? I'm guessing you did none of these things, and yet how often in our lives do we give away our time gems to others or spend them on things we really don't want? As we grow and change and meet people and develop thoughts about things and take on responsibilities and start projects and compare ourselves to others, we start distributing our time gems, the precious minutes and hours of our days, in ways that when you take a step back and look at it, it doesn't make sense. How many of your time gems go on tasks and activities that aren't useful, like watching endless series of Netflix you don't really enjoy, or scrolling on social media? How many do you spend on things that other people or society has told you is a good idea, like exercise videos you don't like or a job you don't enjoy? How many do you give freely away to others without ever taking stock of what you need and are prepared to share? What we do with our minutes, hours and days is what we do with our life. If we wish for a day when we have the time to do yoga in the mornings, or spend more time with our children, or learn guitar, or start up our own business, then that day will never come, because it stays forever a future wish as the days get mysteriously filled with stuff that's more pressing and demanding on us day to day. Time waits for no one. So the best time to start anything that you wish you had more time for is right now. So, here is your task for today. Think of something that you currently don't have time for that is really important to you. Spend a moment and come up with something that's really good, fun, or passion-filled, not just a task that is on your to-do list. Got it? Now, you have a jar containing 1,440 minute gems to spend tomorrow. I want you to spend at least 10 of those gems, just 10, on that thing. Maybe it's doing the thing, like reading a book, doing yoga, or playing with your kids. Or maybe it's researching or understanding the thing, like finding a good guitar teacher or asking a business owner about first steps. What activity might you be able to borrow 10 little gems from? As it's only 10 gems out of 1,440, that's totally doable, right? Perhaps you borrow 10 gems from another activity every day this week. Sound possible? Boom, suddenly you spent an hour on that thing you didn't have any time for. Adjusting how you spend your time gems is something that often comes with practice, because you are rewiring your brain to understand how you want to spend your time. Your brain may be in some really old habits about what we should do with our time and who we should spend it on. Or it may have a lot of habitual fear thinking about what time means to us. The more time we spend deliberately with attention and focus, the more we will seem to have and the more intentionally we will spend our lives. Thanks for listening to this episode of Limitless, the podcast that is making the impossible possible. I'm Alex O'Neill, and I'd love for you to join my Patreon community so you can tell me what you think of the episode. Come and find me at www.patreon.com/limitless. facebook.com/limitless community. See you in the next episode. My recommendation for today is to check out a scientist called David Eagleman. He has got a lot of studies around time and the perception of time, and he's written a great chapter in a book called The Brain, The Story of You. So I would recommend checking that out or look for videos of him online. He's a good speaker, and you can learn a little bit more about the perception of time.